morning. I thought I would do a little tour of the garden today. It is a little bit of an overcast day, but it's still fairly warm. It's actually really, really pleasant. So the asparagus continues to fern out, and that provides a lot of energy for its root system and crown system, so it'll be even bigger next year. The rhubarb is blooming, and I'm not really sure what to do about it. I haven't decided whether I'm supposed to cut them or not. I need to do a little bit of research. Anyway, there is the berry bed, and of course it has tomatoes in it because everything has tomatoes in it. And I'm getting a lot of huckleberries. I've been freezing them, and we're just trying to get enough so that we can make one little jar of huckleberry jam. My zucchini is doing really, really well. I think I had a couple squash bugs. You can see there's a couple of leaves that are flopped over, and so I've sprayed it with a soapy solution. And then my beans are just getting ready to grab on. This area I prepared this morning, so I'm going to put some bell peppers in here. And there's my huckleberry, and it's just a big sprawling thing. I'm going to plant it someplace else next year. And then we'll walk down this side. So comfrey and flowers, which are been really lovely. I've had a lot of hummingbirds on the flowers, the bee balm, and tomatoes. And I'm got a lot of tomatoes, and I just keep picking them. And then here is my cucumbers. And oh, it looks like I missed one. Oh my gosh, look how big it is. I should take that one. That's what happens when you miss them. Let's see if I can get it. Wow, I'm not sure I can even get it off. I can't, but anyway, it's huge. So I'll come back and get it later because I just couldn't snip it off. So I need to get in there and figure out what I got. More flowers at this end. And I really whacked the tomatoes back a couple days ago. I'm starting to get some blight, and so I'm trying to trim all the blight off and have less foliage, and maybe my fruit will get a little bigger. The fruit has been very, very small this year. Strawberries. In here, I've got some lettuce and some Swiss chard for the chickies. I decided to try blanching the last celery. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I decided it would be fun to try. And then this celery, we actually froze it, and so it's actually growing back, which I think is kind of interesting. Out here in my big beds, I've got a bunch of stuff happening. My beans have finally taken off, and my eggplant is full of bugs, and so I've been hand picking them, so I'm going to work on that today. There's my beans, my sunflower. The thing that I'm the most excited about is I have my first Kokuzi melon in there. It's about the size of a softball, maybe? But it's really exciting. And I have a bunch more setting on the plant. And then a lot of this is I'm just working more compost into it. My onions are finally taking off, and my garlic down here is looking pretty awful. My garlic did not do well this year at all. So I think I'm going to let a lot of these scapes go to complete seed, and then I get bulbules, and then I'll plant from that. My squash bed is doing not too bad, except there's my poor little spaghetti squash over there. So I've planted some more potatoes. I'm getting ready to harvest those. Here's all my peppers, and I'm starting to get some, these are lemon jalapenos. And so that's a little tiny one, but they are starting to turn yellow, which I think is going to be kind of exciting. And in my tomato bed, look down here, you see I have a bunch of tomatoes. They're all trellised up. I've got these bizarre, it's called a super sauce, and they're just, it's just so big. It's unbelievable how big these are. and they're actually really tasty. So, but I've got a lot of big fruits set on my heirlooms. I've got a lot of San Marzanos that are ripe. I'll be picking tomatoes, the San Marzanos today, and I just freeze them, and then I will make tomato sauce. These are more of the super sauces, which are good size, and then just more of the heirlooms. And now we will go into the greenhouse, which I don't really use this time of year. And now we'll go into the high tunnel, and that's where the biggest difference is. So the high tunnel is starting to take off. So these are the tomatoes that I planted that I was going to throw away. My carrots are doing pretty darn good. They're kind of coming along. Here's more tomatoes that I planted from cuttings, and a little bit of lettuce in there, and then this is more Kajari melons that I planted in here, so I'd have succession. That's just some flowers. And then this is my spaghetti squash, so I replanted my spaghetti squash in here. Onions and leeks, and then corn, and the corn is actually getting tassels, and it's doing really good. And then I've got beans planted inside. Sweet potatoes. So I've netted over here because I'm having a problem with grasshoppers, of course. So I've got a bunch of small things in here. I'm going to replant a few things because it doesn't look that great. And then my beets. And then this whole bed is all beets. And they're slow, and I planted these as seedlings. They're slow, but they're coming along. And this is just some more peppers. Dill is in here, which I grew from seed and transplanted. This is more cucumbers and still some empty space. This is all cantaloupes, and I don't know, they've been struggling, but now this one here is actually now starting to look good. So I think they're starting to perk up. And then these, I'm not sure what these are, but I'll figure it out. These are my little cucumbers. They're cucamelons, so they're real small, and they're starting to grab onto this trellis. And this trellis is actually really neat. It's just a net, and it's 5 feet tall and 30 feet long, and it was $8. So that's kind of cool. And then these are more cucumbers, silver slicers, and you know, that one is just doing fabulous, and these ones are small and don't know what that's about. And then there's a little row here of turnips. And here is another Kajari that this is the one I scooped out up there, and it's climbing up the trellis, so it's looking pretty good. Another eggplant, just hedging my bets, and then another zucchini. So that's kind of what's going on. I'm pretty happy with what's going on in the high tunnel. It's starting to get green and lush. Another 2 weeks will make a big difference. Thanks for hanging out with me.